Hello students, good morning. Today I will talk about reading text 1. As I told you yesterday, reading text 1 in SEE is usually a poem. So I will explain each poem from grade 10 textbook. How many poems are there in your textbook? There are 5 poems. We'll start with the first poem. So what is the first poem? The first poem is Did I Miss Anything? It's in Unit 6, page number 59. Can you open your book on page number 59? Do you see the poem? Yes, it's Did I Miss Anything? And who is the poet? Can you look at page number 60? At the end, you see Tom Wayman. So this poem is written by Tom Wayman. And who do you think is the speaker in the poem? Yes, the speaker in the poem is a teacher. And this poem is the frustration of a teacher who has frequently been asked by the absent student, Did I miss anything? The tone of the poem is angry, sarcastic, and humorous. Each stanza in the poem begins with nothing and everything. Both the words are complete in themselves and they represent the tone of the poem. मैले भनेको बुझ्नु भएको छ? त्यो पोएमको स्टान्जाहरु चाहिँ कि नथिङ बाट स्टार्ट भएको छ कि एभ्रीथिङ बाट स्टार्ट भएको छ. The poet or the speaker is a teacher and he gets quite angry when an absent student asks, Did I miss anything? In response, the poet explains what he missed and what he didn't miss. If you see the word nothing, there the speaker is saying that he did not miss anything. And when you see everything, the speaker in the poem means that the absentee student missed everything. The stanzas beginning with nothing are sarcastic and humorous, and the stanzas beginning with everything expresses the speaker's anger. Let me explain the poem by each stanza, and at the end of the poem, we'll practice a set of questions from old question paper. मैले भनेको कुरा बुझ्नुभयो? पहिले म तपाईलाई यो पोएमको मिनिङ एक्सप्लेन गर्दिन्छु हरेक स्टान्जाको, अनि त्यसपछि पुरानो क्वेशनबाट एक सेट क्वेशन हामी गरेर हेर्छौं. हुन्छ? Are you all ready? Okay. Now let's start from the first stanza. Nothing. When we realized you weren't here, we sat with our hands folded on our desks in silence for the full 2 hours. What does the speaker in the poem mean? The poet in the first stanza says that the student has missed nothing as the teacher and other students came to know that the absentee student was not there. They were sitting quietly for 2 hours with their hands on the desks. What do you think? It's anger or it's sarcasm? Yes, it's a kind of sarcastic answer. Now, let's move on to the second stanza. Everything, I gave an exam worth 40% of the grade for this term and assigned some reading due today on which I'm about to hand out a quiz worth 50%. Here the speaker is angry, means the teacher's anger comes out. He tells the absentee that he administered a test which covered 40% of the term and also gave the student a reading task, and the teacher is also planning to give a quiz which covers 50% of the term paper marks. Here the speaker is saying that the absentee student missed everything. Right? Now let's move on to the third stanza. मैले पढ्दै गर्दा तपाई पनि टेक्स्ट बुक हेर्दै गर्नुस् है. Nothing. None of the content of this course has value or meaning. Take as many days off as you like. Any activities we undertake as a class, I assure you will not matter either to you or me and are without purpose. Here in the third stanza, the tone again shifts to sarcasm. According to the teacher, the absentee missed nothing as the course has no value or meaning. He tells the absentee to remain absent for as many days as he likes. He also tells the absentee that the activities done in the class has no meaning or purpose for himself as well as for the absentee student. Okay, now let's move on to the fourth stanza. Everything, a few minutes after we began last time, a shaft of light suddenly descended and an angel or other heavenly being appeared and revealed to us what each woman or man must do to attain divine wisdom in this life and the hereafter. This is the last time the class will meet before we disperse to bring the good news to all people on earth. So, what does the speaker mean in the fourth stanza? In the fourth stanza, the poet says that shortly after he began teaching, a ray of light came down and an angel appeared. The angel told them the ways to attain wisdom for the life and also that this is the last class after which they will have to spread the good news to the world. Okay, now let's move on to the fifth stanza. Nothing. When you are not present, how could something significant occur? What do you mean by these two lines? Can you guess? Okay, listen to me very carefully. In the fifth stanza, the tone again becomes sarcastic. The teacher says that nothing important can happen without the absentee student in classroom. Now, let's move on to the last stanza. Everything contained in the classroom is a microcosm of human experience assembled for you to query and examine and ponder. This is not the only place such an opportunity has been gathered, but it was one place and you weren't here. What do you think the poet means in the sixth stanza? Yes. In the sixth stanza or in the final stanza, the teacher says that the classroom is a world full of human experiences which were brought for the absentee to ask, examine and understand. It was an opportunity which the absentee lost or missed. Okay, did you get the meaning of the poem? I hope you have got some knowledge on the poem. So let's move on to a set of questions from this poem. It's set 5 of 2074 SEE examination RE 101 BC. Do you have your old question collection in front of you? Can you open that page? The question says, match the first halves of the sentences in Group A with their appropriate endings in Group B. So it's a matching type of question. Do you remember? Yesterday I was talking about different types of reading comprehension question. It's a matching question. And it's not word meaning matching, it's sentence half matching. मैले हिजो भने जस्तै यो चाहिँ वर्डको मिनिङ म्याच गर्ने छैन, सेन्टेन्सको हाफ दिएको छ त्यसलाई म्याच गर्ने छ. हेर्नुस् है त तपाईको वर्ल्ड क्वेशन सेटमा मैले ग्रुप ए को पढ्छु. नम्बर ए, when they realize the absence. B, the exam carried. C, the given homework. D, the activities performed in the class. And E, the content of the course. And in group B, means in column B, there are 6 options given there. The first one is due today. The second one is 50%. The third one is they sat doing nothing. The fourth one is 40% of the grade. The fifth one is valueless. And the last one is are without purpose. Now can you match them? When they realize the absence, what is the correct ending for this sentence? Can you look at the beginning of the poem? That means first stanza. When we realized you weren't here, we sat with our hands folded on our desks. What does that mean? That means they sat doing nothing. So the correct answer is, when they realized the absence, they sat doing nothing. It's in I. Do you see there? Okay. The next one, the exam carried. Now can you look at the second stanza of the poem? Everything I gave an exam worth 40% of the grade for this term. So how much did the exam carry? What does it say? I gave an exam worth 40% means the exam carried 40% of the grade. So the correct answer for this is IV. It's not 50%, right? That 50% refers to the quiz. Now let's move on to number C. The given homework. If you look at the second stanza, what does it talk about the given homework? Assigned some reading due today. Assigned means gave. That means the teacher gave the homework. The given homework is due today. So the correct ending for this is I. Now let's look at number D. The activities performed in the class. What is the correct ending for this? If you look at the third stanza, do you see any activities we undertake as a class? I assure you will not matter either to you or me and are without purpose. What do we mean by without purpose? Having no value, right? And do you see the phrase without purpose in column B? Yes, it's in VI. So the correct ending for number D is the activities performed in the class are without purpose. Okay. The last one, the content of the course. What is the correct ending for this? There are two endings left here. One is 50%, it's in second I, and another is valueless. If you look at the third stanza, nothing, none of the content of this course has value or meaning. Means the content is valueless. The correct answer for this is the content of the course is valueless. So it's number V. This is all about the poem. Did I miss anything? I hope you can do the question from this poem. तपाईले सर्र पोएम पढ्ने, क्वेशन हेर्ने, फेरि पोएममा हेर्ने अनि कुन आन्सर मिल्छ त्यही गर्ने तरिकाले गर्नुभयो भने सक्नुहुन्छ। र अघि मैले भनेको पोएमको मिनिङहरु सम्झनु भयो भने तपाईहरुलाई क्वेशनको आन्सर गर्न पनि सजिलो हुन्छ। Now let's move on to the next poem. What is the next poem? It's in Unit 9. Page number is 94 of your textbook. And what is the title of the poem? Yes, The Road Not Taken. Who wrote this poem? Or who composed this poem? Can you look at the end of the poem? Robert Frost. So the poem is written by Robert Frost. In this poem too, first I will explain the poem and then we will do question answer of that poem, and please listen carefully. Look at the poem. Let's look at the first two lines, line 1 and 2. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. What does the poet mean in these two lines? It's very easy. The poet was traveling on foot in the forest. The forest was yellow. Do you think the forest is yellow? Yes. It means the leaves are turning yellow. While traveling, the poet reaches a junction where two roads diverged. He realizes that as a traveler, traveling both the roads is impossible. Here, two roads also mean two ways of life. Now let's move on to line number 3 to 5. पहिले म पढ्छु त्यो 3 लाइन अनि त्यसको मिनिङ भन्छु है. And be one traveler long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. What does the poet mean in these lines? The poet stands there trying to choose which path he is going to take. He is staring down one road. He is trying to see where it goes. The small plants and greenery of the woods block his view. Means he can't see the end of the road. Okay, now let's move on to line 6-8. Please follow me in your textbook. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. The poet decided to check the other path because he found the other road less traveled and grassy. Now, let's move on to line 9 and 10. Though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. What does the poet mean in these two lines? The poet means after traveling through the road, he found that the roads are equally traveled. Okay, now let's move on to line number 11 and 12 on page number 95. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. What does the poet mean in those two lines? It was tough for him to recognize the real road in the morning. He was the first person to walk on the road. He couldn't decide the right path as no step had smashed the leaves on the roads to allow him to go for the right one. Now let's move on to line number 13 to 15. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads unto way. I doubted if I should ever come back. In these lines, the poet here saves the first road for another day. He knows how way leads to another. He doesn't think he will ever be able to come back and take the other path. Now let's move on to line number 16. What does the poet say in line number 16? I shall be telling this with a sigh. What do you mean by the word sigh? It means a deep and long breath. And the poet in line number 16 means the poet has failed to choose the right path. The word sigh reflects that he is disappointed with the decision. And now let's move on to line number 17 to 20. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. What does the poet mean in these lines? The poet took the path no one else did, and that has made him successful. This is all about the meaning of the poem. Now, let's look at SE question from this poem. Do you have your old question collection with you? I hope you have. Now can you look at the SEE examination question 2075? It's RE101 FP, Karnali province. I hope you have opened your question collection. Can you look at the questions there? What is the first question? Where is the poet standing in the poem? The poet is standing at the junction. Or you can also write the poet is standing at the place where two roads diverged. There are two possible answers there. Now let's look at the second question. Which road does he choose to travel? Do you know the answer? The answer is very simple. He chooses less traveled road to travel. That's given in the poem, less traveled road. And number C, why does the speaker feel sorry? Can you look at the poem? I shall be telling this with a sigh. Means he was taking a deep and long breath. Means he was feeling sorry. The speaker feels sorry because he couldn't choose both the roads. ऊ दुवै रोड चुज गर्न सक्दैन थियो, त्यही भएर उले सरी फिल गरेको भनेको. The next question is, what was the doubt in the poet's mind? Do you see the line? It's line number 16, I think. I doubted if I should ever come back. There lies the answer. The doubt was whether he would come back to travel the first road. Do you see there? I doubted if I should ever come back. So that means the doubt was whether the poet would come back to travel the first road. Okay, the last question is, what is the main theme of the poem? Like in the poem, there are two roads. We have choices in our life. So you can simply write, the main theme of the poem is about the choices we make in our life, or you can write in another way as well. The theme can be, we should take risks in our lives. Whatever you write, the answer is correct. विद्यार्थी भाइ बहिनीहरूले यो पोएमको मिनिङ बुझेर यस्तो क्वेशनको आन्सर गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ नै होला. अब अर्को एउटा सेट पनि हेरौं है त. तपाईको वर्ल्ड क्वेशनमा पल्टाउनुस् त. SEE एक्जामिनेसन 2074 SRE101 तपाईले भेट्नु भयो. हेर्नुस् त, यसमा क्वेशन चाहिँ म्याचिङ छ. What does the question say? It says, match the words in column A with their meanings in column B. हेर्नुस् त, column A मा के वर्डहरु दिएको छ? A मा trodden, B diverged, C sigh, D leads, and E would. And can you look at column B? The phrases in column B or the meanings in column B are a deep and long breath, goes with or in front of, walked on, less taken, branched away, and forest. What do you mean by trodden? Yes, trodden means walked on. Number B, diverged. Can you match that word with the meanings from column B? Yes, it's branched away. It's in V. And look at C. What is the word? Sigh. So what does that mean? That means a deep and long breath. So in column B, it's in number I. And look at number D. What is the word? Leads. What does it mean? It means goes with or in front of. So it's given in second I. Do you see there? Okay, the last word in column A is would. So what do you mean by wood? Yes, wood means forest. it's given at the end in column B, number VI. तपाईले गर्नुभयो नि हैन? ओके, यति गर्नुभयो भने तपाईले यो पोएमबाट आएको क्वेशनहरुको आन्सर लेख्न सक्नुहुन्छ होला. So this is all about the poem The Road Not Taken. Now let's look at another poem. The another poem is from Unit 12 and it's on page number 133. 133. Can you open your book? Okay. What is the poem? Yes, I wandered lonely as a cloud. And the same question. Who wrote this poem? Can you look at the end of the poem? Yes, it's William Wordsworth. The poem is composed by William Wordsworth. And what is the poem about? The poet narrates a small incident in which he got an opportunity to see a huge number of daffodils in a valley. In this poem too, I am going to explain the poem by stanza. There are 4 stanzas in this poem. I will first explain the meaning, then we'll look at some questions from SEE paper. यो पोएममा पनि पहिले म तपाईलाई पोएमको मिनिङ भन्दिन्छु अंग्रेजीमा, अनि त्यसपछि त्यही पोएमबाट एसई क्वेशनहरु हेर्छौं अनि त्यसको आन्सर हामी सँगसँगै गर्छौं अनि तपाईलाई सजिलो हुन्छ. Okay, first I am going to read the first stanza. Can you look at the book? I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. In the first stanza, the poet says that he was roaming around without any purpose. So wander means roaming around without any purpose. Bina kam hindnelai wander bhन्छ. He compares himself with the cloud. While roaming, he sees a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. He says he sees a large number of daffodils beside the lake and beneath the trees, means under the trees. And all those daffodils were along with the shore of the lake, and they were below the trees. He says that the daffodils are moving in the light air. Now let's go to the second stanza. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 I saw at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. What does the poet mean in the second stanza? In the second stanza, the poet is comparing the daffodils with the stars in the sky. The bay here refers to the lake. The daffodils on the shore of the lake seemed to be unending like the stars in the sky. The poet saw a large number of daffodils which he couldn't count. The word head in this line refers to the top part of the daffodil. Okay, now let's move on to the third stanza. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth that so to me had brought. What does the poet mean in this third stanza? He means there were waves which seemed to be dancing in the lake, but the joyful dance of the daffodils was far better than theirs. The joyful company was the source of pleasure. The poet kept looking at the daffodils and their dance. The poet couldn't fully enjoy the happiness. Now let's move on to the fourth stanza. Look at the textbook on page number 134. For oft When on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. What does the poet mean in the fourth stanza? In the fourth stanza, the poet says that while lying on his couch in sorrowful mood, the memories of the daffodils flash upon his inward eye. The memory becomes the source of joy. His heart is then filled with pleasure and dances with the daffodils. Thus, the memory of the daffodils become his companion in his solitude and takes away all his sorrows and boredom. This is all about the meaning of the poem. मैले तपाईलाई यो पोएमको चारवटा स्टान्जामा दिएको मिनिङ बताइदिए. Now let's look at some questions from this poem in SEE examination of 2075. तपाईसँग वर्ल्ड क्वेशन कलेक्सन को किताब पल्टाउनुस् त. And look at the question set. SEE examination 2075 of province 2. RE101 BP. पल्टाउनु भयो. हेर्नुस् है त. The poem is given there. I wandered lonely as a cloud. अनि क्वेशनहरु देख्नु भयो. Answer the following questions. They are the short answer questions. What does the first question say? What does the speaker compare himself with? यो पोएममा स्पिकरले आफूलाई केसँग कम्पेयर गरेको छ भन्ने भयो क्वेशन, हैन? Can you look at the first line? I wandered lonely as a cloud. Do you see the phrase as a cloud? Yes. That means the answer for that question is the speaker compares himself with the cloud. Number B. How are the daffodils described in the poem? If you look at the second stanza, can you follow me? Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. As the stars. The daffodils are like the stars shining in the sky. The poet is describing daffodils as the stars shining in the sky. तपाईले जसरी लेखे पनि हुन्छ. सिधै the daffodils are like the stars shining in the sky भने पनि भयो, or the daffodils described in the poem are like the stars shining in the sky. त्यसो भने पनि भयो. Number C. Where did the poet see the daffodils? हेर्नुस् त, फर्स्ट स्टान्जा को लास्ट तिर a host of golden daffodils beside the lake beneath the trees. The poet saw the daffodils beside the lake beneath the trees. Beside the lake र beneath the trees चाहिँ आन्सर भयो. नम्बर डी हेर्नुस् त, who danced along with the daffodils? तपाईले लास्ट लाइन तिर हेर्नु भयो पोएम को भने, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. Means who danced along with the daffodils? The speaker. The speaker danced along with the daffodils. So that is the answer for that question. Now look at number E. How did the speaker react to the sight of the flowers? How did he react? भने त्यो पोएममा स्पिकरले कस्तो रियाक्सन दियो भने हो. The speaker felt joyful to the sight of the flowers. यो क्वेशन को आन्सर felt joyful हो. तपाईले मिलाएर लेख्न सक्नुहुन्छ. The speaker felt joyful to the sight of the flowers भनेर लेख्यो भने पुग्छ. Now, can you look at the same book, means the world question collection of Province 3, SEE examination 2075, RE101 CP. The same poem is given here, but the questions are true false. हेर्नुस् त, यसमा दिएको क्वेशन चाहिँ true false छ. Now look at number A. The speaker floats on high over vales and hills. Is the statement false or true? First दुईटा लाइनमा हेर्नुस् है त पोएमको. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills. That floats भनेको छ नि, त्यो that चाहिँ स्पिकरलाई होइन क्लाउडलाई हो. तपाईको स्टेटमेन्टले के भन्यो? The speaker floats on high over vales and hills. यो त फल्स भयो. The cloud floats on high over vales and hills भनेको भए चाहिँ ट्रू हुन्थ्यो. Now let's move on to number B. Golden daffodils are fluttering and dancing. Look at the last two lines of the first stanza. A host of golden daffodils beside the lake beneath the trees fluttering and dancing in the breeze. What are dancing there? Yes, the golden daffodils are fluttering and dancing. तपाईको स्टेटमेन्टले पनि त्यही भन्छ, so it's true. Now look at number C. The daffodils are compared with shining stars. तपाईको पोएमको सेकेन्ड स्टान्जाको फर्स्ट टू लाइन्स हेर्नुस् त. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. The daffodils are compared with shining stars. Yes, it's true. Number D. The speaker dances with daffodils very happily. तपाईले पोएमको लास्टतिर हेर्नुभयो भने and then my heart with pleasure feels and dances with the daffodils. Is the speaker dancing with daffodils? Yes, the speaker dances with daffodils very happily. So it's a true statement. तपाईले true लेख्नु पर्यो. Number E. When he lies in his couch, he doesn't feel good and happy. तपाईको लास्ट स्टान्जामा हेर्नुभयो भने For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure feels. भनेको छ. When he lies in his couch, he doesn't feel good and happy भन्छ यहाँ दिएको स्टेटमेन्टले. तर पोएममा के भन्छ? When he lies in his couch, the speaker remembers the floating daffodils and he becomes happy भन्छ. यसले त he doesn't feel good and happy भन्यो नि. So the statement is false. विद्यार्थी भाइ बहिनीहरूलाई मैले आज 3 वटा पोएमको मिनिङ बताइदिए. अंग्रेजीमै बताए किनभने तपाईले जाँचमा पनि त्यही अंग्रेजीको क्वेशनै पढ्नु पर्ने हुन्छ. पछि हामीले 1-2 वटा क्वेशन पनि प्र्याक्टिस गरी हेर्यौं. अब तपाईहरुले यो पोएमबाट कुनै क्वेशन आयो भने गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ होला. So that's the end of today's lesson. I will come again with 2 other poems in our next class. Thank you very much.